She was a French painter traveling to India in the 1920s. He was an Indian freedom fighter turned spiritual guru. But when Mira Alfasa met Sri Aurobindo, she said he was the man of her dreams. Mira had found her spiritual partner, but their relationship wasn't romantic, more galactic. The universe had brought them together to envision a place free from the constraints of money, religion, and politics. The February 2023 International Journal of Urban and Regional Research explains, after what felt like eons of planning, Auroville was born. On February 28, 1968, 5,000 people from 124 countries attended the inauguration of the City of Dawn. Auroville emulated a utopia, where according to Atmos of February 8, 2024, taxation doesn't exist, private ownership is ridiculed, and alcohol is prohibited, although everyone parties. Today, Auroville is a 20 square kilometer eco-city housing just over 3,300 residents from 52 countries, which the 2023 book Prefiguring Utopia calls the most diverse, enduring, dynamic community in the world, making Auroville an experiment in unity, challenging the limits of humanity's political, cultural, and spiritual capabilities. Meanwhile, as PBS on February 28, 2024 illuminates, polarization in American cities is at an all-time high, whilst systemic policy continues to fail. Half a world away and challenged by a far more oppressive government, Auroville demonstrates how ideology brought its citizens balance, and the consequences of that balance being broken. Making it necessary, we understand how Auroville operates, their current realities and implications, to determine if humanity's transformation is within our grasp. Located in the heart of South India, the Indian government gifted the land to Mira, known to her followers as the Mother, and Aurobindo after they pitched the Galaxy Plan, a city able to hold up to 50,000 settlers, divided into 4 quadrants: industrial, cultural, residential, and international, living in harmony. Harmony preserved in 3 astounding ways: socially, ecologically, and spiritually. Initially, to be an Aurovillian means putting your community first. The 2022 Journal of Climate Action explains everyone works either a commercial or service post, but instead of receiving wages, receive a monthly allowance, credited to their Oro card. In turn, the Diseño Journal of January 18, 2023 adds, citizens receive subsidized housing, accessible meals daily, subsidized medical care, and a voice, as governance to implement such lush policy can't be made without approval from the community, or as one resident describes the town debates, a meltdown. But something always comes out of the meltdown. Second, ecologically. Aside from being home to the largest reforestation project on Earth, CNBC explains the community has implemented a number of sustainable practices, including producing green building materials, establishing a paper recycling plant, and a handmade paper unit. The community protects its natural resources through its own solar power plant, as well as innovative water and soil conservation techniques. Uniting under their collective mission in preserving their land, Auroville has turned their once barren and arid landscape into, as their residents proudly proclaim it, a homegrown ecotopia. Third, many Aurovillians have fused education with tenets of their spiritual beliefs, becoming practitioners of integral yoga. It's a system prescribed by Sri Aurobindo meant for rapid spiritual transformation. And at the core of it, learning is key to human evolution. Education is the path towards enlightenment. As such, the city accommodates teaching life skills from farming to building houses, so everyone from ages 9 to 99 can find peace within Auroville's economy of contribution. Muriel, a researcher at the Auroville Foundation, told the September 21st, 2022 Financial Express, Auroville is based on the philosophy of unending education, be it spiritual or skill-based. 50 years later, a revived ecosystem later, after more investment from the Indian government and awareness from the international community, they've created Utopia, all protected by an illustrious forest barrier. But the same government that fostered its growth is allowing its barriers to break. Oroville is experiencing the price of unity in two pertinent ways. First, as Oroville diverges from Western notions of militarism and hostility, they remain rife with political corruption. Oroville governance, last updated February 26, 2024, illuminates, even though their democratic system is centered on town participation, most decisions are made directly by the governance board, which the Indian government has slowly been implanting with political appointees. None of the original 7 members remain. And when dissenters advocate against board decisions, they're met with political disregard, distrust from the community. Or, as the June 28, 2023 Times of India illuminates, in the case of South Prem, an individual advocating for safer roads in the city. Have your citizenship revoked. Next, Oroville's Green Renaissance gave rise to perverse economic incentives. For example, at the heart of the Mother's Galaxy plan lay the Matri Mandir, which the May 2022 New York Times describes as this beautiful golden temple with 12 radial roads extending from it, connecting the people with what they produced. But according to Global Gallivanting magazine on October 5th, 2022, as the Indian government increases their attempts for their dominion to be ubiquitous in the area, Orovillians are being forced to open up such sacred spots as tourist attractions, transforming spirituality into spectacle. Even still, in January of this year, city officials resurrected the Crown Road project, a cornerstone in the Mother's Galaxy plan which would require to fell a majority of Oroville's sacred trees. Naturally, protests emerged against the city government. But Oroville continuing to develop whilst positioning itself as both villain and victim leaves us with 2 implications. First, the Indian government's ruling party, the BJP's ultimate goal with Oroville, is for it to become the spiritual capital of the world. But for the Mother and Aurobindo's vision to come to fruition, the previously cited Atmos illuminates the BJP has invested roughly $250 million into Oroville's religious sites and roads with little regulation, because the time has come for India to impose itself as the developmental example to follow. But in mixing the political and the spiritual, the Mirror on February 11, 2024 elaborates Oroville's fallen mercy of a political party with roots in the Gandhi assassination and burning down mosques, undermining Oroville's own sense of belonging to its nation. So until Orovillians regain autonomy over their utopian experiment, their spirituality will always be perverted for the BJP's success. Finally, it's ironic a blooming civilization reconciling with Western influences must recreate colonial cycles to thrive. As Jessica Nomical explains in her book, European Dreams, Tamil Lands, from early Orovillians exploiting cheap local labor, to today, city leaders renaming and annexing neighboring villages to execute the Galaxy Plan's dream. Yet, this is no accident, considering Sri Aurobindo himself reflects in his publication, Karma Yogin, for much of colonial rule, the social sentiment was to reproduce Europe within Indian borders. And when the British left, Oroville was refuge to those nostalgic for Western enlightenment, transforming Oroville into a burgeoning colonial reenactment, making the only place utopian progress can occur, where the colonized become colonizers. Both Mother and Sri Aurobindo didn't live to see what their utopia would become. But after understanding how Oroville operates, their current realities and implications, we're well aware of the magnitudes utopia carries. Mother and Aurobindo's remains rest near the Matri Mandir, but may their vision for humanity's transformation never rest.